Hello, here's a wonderful problem that deals with decimals and percents. This one is actually one of my favorite ones because there's so many different ways to think about it. So let's read it. Susie is shopping at Gap, and for one day, Gap says we're going to give you a 30% discount, and then on top of that, an additional 20%. So Susie says, oh, this is great, I'm going to get a 50% discount. But her friend Laura says, wait a minute, this is going to be less than 50%. So let's come up with an argument here that determines which one of those is correct. So most people, when they first see this, will think, just like Susie, right, that a 30% discount and 20% following will give you 50%. So we're going to use a decimal grid to actually show that this is not 50%. So here goes. Here's our way of thinking here. So the first discount is 30%. So what I'm going to do is, remember, this is a decimal grid that has 100 squares. So if we show 30%, just like that. So we can just say this is a 10% bar, another 10%, and then the third. So this is 30% altogether. So that's that discount. But then it says on top of that is a 20% discount. So what I'm going to do here, you can think of it this way, right? That we still have 10 bars going across. So a 20% discount will look like this. Right, so we have the 10 vertical bars, and then this is 10% and 20%. So now if you look at this and say, okay, what is the actual discount, right? We can look at the math. So this here would be the 30%. So I'm going to write that right here, 30%. And then you have these two, but these bars are 7 across, right? So this is 7 and 7, so it's 14. So this is the first discount, and this is the second. So altogether, you can see the discount. Just like we heard Laura say, it's not quite 50%, right? It's 44%. It's a great way of thinking about it. Another way that you can see that the discount is 44%, this is 7 across, and this is 8 high. So the white squares here is 56%. So you're paying 56%. You're not paying that 44%. So that's one way to think about the problem. So I want to show one more way. Oftentimes when I give this problem, there are a couple of different ways of thinking about it. So look back at this, right? 30 followed by 20. So I did have a student do it like this. So this is pretty nice. Right, so this should be 100%, right? We see that there. So if we want a 30% discount, this is what happens, right? You can knock off the 30, right? And we see that. And then the rest here, right? We should have 70 left. So this is the tricky part, right? Where you now need to take 20% of this. So the way I saw a student do this once is, instead of saying I have 7 tens, right, this person said, how about if I have 10 sevens? So he did this. Just like that, right? So again, the 7 tens is the same as the 10 sevens. And so then if you look at the sevens, it's very easy to take a 20% discount. This is how you would do it, right? So you take 2 out of the 10, and then your answer is right here, what we had discounted. Right, so we have the 30 plus the 14, right? Just like the first solution. And that's your 44% discount. And here again, you're going to see the 8 sevens. So we see two solutions, right? Decimal grids, great way to do the problem. You can also just use math reasoning, right? You get the solution.